kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to cook black turtle beans, which we give out in the Good Food Bank quite often. A lot of people get them, they don't really know exactly what to do with them. If you don't take the proper steps, then you're going to end up with a really hard bean that's going to be hard to digest. But if you cook them properly, they're delicious and they're versatile. You can do a lot with black beans. They were a staple in my house growing up. So first we're going to put the beans into some kind of container. I'm doing a metal bowl. And you want the container to be much bigger than the beans when they're dry. And we're going to cover the beans in a couple inches of water. You want to make sure, there you go. You want to make sure they're quite well covered. I'm going to say at least 3 or 4 inches of water. These beans will absorb a lot more water than you kind of first think. So you're going to leave these to soak for a minimum of 6 hours. The way beans work, or all legumes work, is that the longer you leave them soaking in water, the shorter they're going to take to cook. So if you're never going to want to go longer than 24 hours, ideally sort of 6 to 12 hours is great. A little longer is totally fine. So I'm going to leave these to soak, let's say overnight. And, oh, would you look at that? I've got some beautifully soaked black beans. I got these ready for us yesterday. So it's got a really nice color. They're kind of almost purpley. And I rinsed and strained these. You don't want to cook your beans in the water that you soaked them in. You're going to have a much nicer final bean if you rinse your beans and fill them up with fresh water in a pot. So I'm going to do that next. And they're not going to expand too much more at this point, so it's okay to not have a massive pot for your beans. This pot, they're just kind of filling up about halfway in this pot here. And again, I'm going to cover them in a couple inches of water. And here we go. So at this point, when you're cooking your beans, you don't need to add anything at all. You can just boil them in regular water. You could add a couple cloves of garlic, you could add a bay leaf just to infuse them with a little bit of flavor, but it's kind of depending on what you're going to do with them after they're all cooked. One thing you want to make sure is that you do not put any salt in the water at this point, because that's going to affect how the beans cook. So I've got these. You know what? I'm going to top them up with a little bit more water just to be safe. I'm not putting a lid on them while they cook, and so a little water will evaporate, and better safe than sorry. So I'm going to put these on the stove. And I've turned it up high, and just to bring them to a boil. So once the beans have come to a boil, I'm going to turn them down to sort of medium-low, and we're going to let them simmer for, I think you're looking at between an hour and 2 hours, so it's really depending on how long you've soaked your beans for. And you want to have a tender bean. I think everybody knows what a cooked bean's like, so you can test them out maybe after 45 minutes or an hour, see how you're doing. Maybe add a little bit more water to the pot if a lot of the water has evaporated off. And once you're done, you're going to strain your beans, and we'll show you that part a little bit later. Hi everybody, we're back. We've got some really nice cooked black beans. So we soaked these for minimum of 6 hours. I soaked these actual beans for almost 20 hours, and they cooked in about 45 minutes. It's really hands-off kind of procedure with the beans. It's not a big investment in your kitchen, but you end up with a really great product. Super full of protein. You're getting carbohydrates. It's a low-fat food. This is heart-healthy food. Great for keeping you full for a long period of time. So I'll just show you here. These beans that I cooked for about 45 minutes, they're soft. They're almost easily mashable. You could make a black bean dip with these really easily, black bean soup. But beans are really versatile. You can throw them into a salad. You can throw them into brownies. These beans, I think I'm gonna mash them up and put them in some veggie burgers. The options are really endless when it comes to legumes. And hopefully we'll share some more videos with you soon of what you can do with these black beans in your kitchen.